Good evening, everyone. It's me again. That's what I keep saying, it's me again. But anyway, hope you all has a good weekend. Maybe it is or not, I don't know. I know some Liverpool fans didn't have a good weekend. They've been arguing and people taking sides. Forgetting what Mo Salah did. He was wrong. Look, I know this is history, but I've got to say this. One fella said good riddance in a comment I was looking at. Good riddance. Not to me. Not on my one. And as I said, I was looking at some particular podcast. And this fella who was actually talking is a journalist. But he's telling the truth. And he said, he had to say this. And then one fella came on, comments, and it was calling him for everything. He said he hasn't been chasing back for 10 years. Little did he know that Mo Salah, who was our leading goal scorer, broke every record every season. And he says he's done nothing in 10 years. I don't know where these people are coming from. I really don't. I really don't. But anyway, it's just one of those things that people have very short memories. I know a lot of people who have short memories, through my life. I know them too well. And this fella is a very, whether he's an Evertonian, pretending, and or a Man United fan, I don't know. I just don't know. I just don't know. The rivalry, and they're saying good riddance. And I didn't like that. Forgetting what that man did for Liverpool Football Club and the city. And he told the truth. He told the truth. And that's the way it is. If you tell the truth, you get respect. But you're getting pundits coming out. Look, I've spoken to many people. I'm talking about footballers. I'm talking about ex-managers and whatever. And they never don't like you talking about players. I know that for a fact because I've spoken to them. If you say, well, such a player, don't talk about it. Why? We're supporters. We see the good and the bad. See what I mean? But anyway, that's it. And I think it's very sad that Mo Salah is being scorned by fans as well. By fans. So-called fans. So-called fans. On some podcasts. Saying it was wrong for him to do when he's supposed to say it. You get them saying, we've got to go out and try and win against Brentford. Yeah, and what? If he wouldn't have said that, or if we get beat by Brentford. Now, if we get beat by Brentford, Mo Salah will be blamed. They're forgetting everything. And it's all because of the biggest problem at Liverpool Football Club, which is the coach. He's caused all this. He's caused it all. And so is his oppos as well. The oppo who brought him in, Richard Hughes. Remember when I used to call him the Invisible Man? No one ever seen him. Do you know why? He was living in fucking Bournemouth. You know what I said? I'm not going to swear. But every time I think of these people, I swear. But anyway, it's just that sort of scenario where people are very upset. They're very upset. and upset with everything that's going on. And I mean everything. It's the way it is. It's the way it is, people. Can't even get this thing. TW, I'd say, even in Frank in chat. And he carries on by saying, like, share, and subscribe for Frank, please. Thank you. Thank you so much, T. Appreciate that, mate. I really do. Janet, good evening. Good evening, Janet. Phil. Hello, Frank and chat. Hiya, Phil. Good to see you. And Steve, my old mate. Mo Salah put out a great statement on Instagram. Yes. Yes, he did. And lovely little Johnny. Are you Johnny? Hello, lovely chat family and lovely Frank. I hope everyone got that. Lovely Frank. And Toscana, buonasera Franco and Co. Mo is one of us. I will always be grateful for all he's done for the club and his latest comment. A true legend. Yes. TW. Hopefully it gets sorted after Sunday, and I'll tell you now, I will take anyone because this can't continue. Yes. And Steve Mulholland. Sorry, Frank, I should have used caps. Thank you, Steve. I brought in my reading glasses just in case, you know. Well, thank you anyway, Steve. Good man. Cedric Lopez. Can't make that name up, can you? Big up, legends. Another day, another holiday for our players. A thumbs up to our chat. It's ridiculous, Cedric. It's ludicrous, actually. I know he's been away to get his cone heads tanned. That's all forgotten, you see. Dean. Frank, your living room looks so cosy. Did you pinch that fireplace from the Titanic Museum? That particular fireplace, right, and this, hang on, where am I? Violin. Now they go together, those two things, because where the violin is sitting on that chair, and the living room itself, it's very cozy, it's authentic. It's one of the greatest living rooms in history, shall we say. And who it belongs to is the greatest ever detective on the planet, Mr. Sherlock Holmes. Yeah, this living room. Sherlock Dean. And lovely little Donna. Me too. Sorry, forgot the caps. Don't you ever be sorry to me, Donna, ever. Mo Salah is a Liverpool legend, says Edward. Scored over 200 goals and won the Champions League and the league twice. It's not only that, he broke records every season. And people are forgetting that. You know, these are divvies who are criticising them. And Wayne Rooney threw his thing in, didn't he, as well? Wayne Rooney. That's the same fella who called out when he was playing Ferguson. Called him out, didn't he? And Neil, my old mate Neil, brother, good lads as Neil. To be fair, Frank, you called Slot out from the get-go. When you add everything up, the fact he doesn't live in the city and has hardly any association says it all. Yes. Yep. Absolutely. I never liked him when he. When it mentioned Slot, I said, "Who's this? Who is he? This is Liverpool Football Club." And they're bringing in, I've never heard of him. And when they finally brought him in and they showed him and going on to the centre of a football pitch, which was Feyenoord, who was manager at the time, and brought a little mic out with him and told everyone that he was leaving at the end of the season while there was still games to go. So that proves that he was already approached before anybody and being offered the job by his best mate, the Invisible Man. Hughes. And that's the sickening thing about it. And people say he won the league. No, he didn't. No, he didn't. The same people who are calling Mo Salah for everything won the league. He won the league. Like that comment I've just mentioned. This is Divvy. Divvy must have been, I don't know what he was, a troll, I don't know. Good riddance and all that. He's been useless for 10 years. You know what I mean? This is the type you're getting. Mo Salah. And he's in my top 3 of all-time greats for Liverpool Football Club. And what are you supposed to do? Just sit there and do nothing. Yeah. You go, Mo. You go for it, mate. Buonasera, Franco and chat. Hope you're well, Franco. Thank you. I'm supposed to go away next week to Lido di Eslo for 8 to 9 days, I forget now. And I'm gonna go. I need to get away. No matter how bad I'm gonna go. I'm going. Told Francine today she was made up. And she said, we'll both for Venice. I said, I can't go there. No way. Not with all the crowds pushing and shoving and everything. So I won't be going there. I'll go to Verona just for the excursion. And there's a lovely, I love Verona. And there's a lovely Colosseum there. And I've actually seen Macbeth on there in Italian. And Aida, the opera, in the Colosseum. And there's a lovely park next to it. That's where I'll sit. While Francine and Sophia goes up and sees Juliet's balcony. She's so looking forward to Sophia to see Juliet's balcony. Colin Dykes, hiya Colin. Hi Frankie, my friend. Hiya Colin. Lovely to see you. And a lovely Little Johnny, can we have a happy chat tonight? Needs a cheering up. Yeah, you'll get one. Please, you'll get one, Johnny. Got some good things to show. And Davy, or Reed Frank. I remember my other favourite. This is a lad, Newcastle fan. Obviously, he's Newcastle. Up there, still there. I remember my other favourite, Terry McGoal, FA Cup semi-final, the chip. Yeah, when he chipped the keeper from 18 yards. He's just got it, didn't he? Stood on it, looks up and just... Good lad, Davey, lads. Good lad. Good man. Newcastle. Away the lads. Frank, what is the likelihood he will play more in the game? Do you know what? It's a difficult one. It really is a difficult one because, look, there are two sides. One, the fans are, for what Mo Salah has done for Liverpool Football Club over the years, and he broke a record this year as well. Liverpool Football Club record. Don't forget. And he also broke a Premiership record. I think people have forgotten that. And that was at the beginning of the season when he scored a goal. He's the only player to score on every opening day of a season. Every opening day of a season, he's the only player to score a goal for his club. The one club as well. Kane couldn't do it. Allen couldn't do it. No one could do it. Only Mo Salah. People have forgotten that. Just look at the statistics. And Toscana says, I hope the owners take note because the fans have had enough. My friend who's a Man United fan is shocked at what's going on and doesn't want to see the demise of our great club. Well, you've only got to look at Johan, neither does he, and he's a big Man United fan. It's the way it is, Toscana. It's nuts. And Davey says, Frank, there's an open-air museum in County Durham called Beamish Museum. Since you like history, you'd love it. County Durham. Yeah, it's an open-air one as well. It's very rare that you get open-air. We have one here, and it's called the Bombed-Out Church, which is, is destroyed. Well, the shell is there, The shell is there, Davey. And they put the events on and things like that. It was bombed during the 1941 May Blitz. That's when it was bombed. And they left it as a memorial to the Second World War. That's a good shout, that, though, about Durham and an open-air museum. I wonder if they have any Roman artefacts up there. Because I know Wall's End's up there. And people think, well, Wall's End, what's that? Well, why is it called Wall's End? Because that's where the Roman wall ended. When they built the Roman wall. 2 Augusta built it, actually. And the greatest, in my opinion, of Roman legions was 2 Augusta. And they built the wall. And I'll tell you why they built it. Because 117 a fella came in by the name of Emperor Adrian, and he said, enough of expansion, just enough. Let's stop here. And that's where he stopped. And he actually built a wall in Spain and Germany and France, and no one thinks about that. But a couple of hundred years later, you had Antoninus, another emperor, and he wanted a wall. So we built the Antonine Wall in the Grampians, Scotland. Wasn't as good because it was only made of sods. But nevertheless, it's history, you know. That's what I used to lecture about. The Romans, TV. And Neil Broderick says, Mo said what he said with confidence. Why? Because he knows us. Comment of the night there. He knows us. Yes. Great comment. Barry. Even if Frank and everyone, let's make sure we finish the season on a high by a win on Sunday and a loss on Monday. Fingers crossed. Yes, I know what you mean by the loss on a Monday. And Barry says, I sincerely hope you have a wonderful time in Italy, Frank. How long are you going away? I'm only going for, I think it's about 10.5 months. I think so anyway. Might stay a little bit longer. Because I always say, you know, if you go away for a week, no sooner that you open your case and you're unpacking, you're packing it again. So, 10.5 months should be all right. Stay. Barry. I'm only going for 8 days, I think. Something like that, something mad like that. Have you ever been to Trieste in it? No, I haven't, Steve. I haven't. Know all about Trieste, but I've never been there. Went to a place called Cattolica once, spent a couple of weeks there. And Cattolica is where all the Germans go. They've made it their place, for holidays. Cattolica, it's not far from Rimini, actually. And Lauren. Hi, Frankie. Where have you been, Lauren? I haven't seen you for ages. Thought you fell out with me. I was thinking about you. When was it? Yesterday. And I was going, where's Lauren gone? I can't even sing my song. Tell Lauren I love her. Can't even sing that anymore. I was thinking. And there she is there. Hey, Lauren. Hi, sweetheart. And Bella. Hiya, Bella. Well done for going on holiday, Franco. It will do you the world of good to spend time with your family in Italy, especially since you haven't been feeling 100% lately. Enjoy every minute. Mille grazie. Yeah, vacanza in Italia. Prossimo. Settimane. Prossimo settimane. Per Italia. Next week. Next week. I wonder if you'll miss me. Our little Lauren. Hi, chat. Hi, Bella, she says. And she says Mo will play Sunday or Slot will have a mutiny on his hands at the end of the day. All the players bar two agreed with him. Someone said to me as well, why didn't Virgil come? Virgil's the captain. He can't say it. But I do know Virgil. Honestly, I've been told about Virg and the Sloop Man, and it's not very nice. For the Sloop Man, that is. Don't get on. Don't get on, I'll just say that. And so great news that you're going to it. There's no need to rush around. I thought he was going to say no need to rush back then. No need to rush back, Frank. No need to rush around. Just take it easy and enjoy being there. Sitting outside the cafe, enjoying it. Yes, that's what I've got a lot to do. And people watching can be what you need. Yeah, well, as I said about Verona, there's a lovely park right next to the Colosseum. I'll be sitting in there, just enjoying it. Enjoying the weather. I really need vitamin D on my stupid face, So, then get me tooth done when I come back home. Got to get that done. Got to get that done. Even in Barry. Hi, Lauren. Hi, Lauren. Davey. We practically relegated West Ham, but there were no chance from us to them about relegation. We know how awful it is. Take note, Villa sob on the time. Yeah, there's nothing worse. There's nothing worse than seeing the demise of a football club. As you know, Davey, but it's not like we can see where everything has gone wrong. Where everything has gone wrong. And it's someone, I just said on my pod the other day, it's like a corner sweet shop owner in a little terrace street taking up the mantle in Harrods, which would be miles too big for him. And this is the same with our coach. It's miles too big and he's well out of his depth. And we can see this as football fans. We can see it. You and I have mentioned Terry McDermott. Now, Terry McDermott, great player. You even say about his goals and even like when playing for us as well. And you just mentioned about when he chipped, I'll forget his name, the Everton keeper. Sims would have, forget his fucking name. Anyway, he chipped him a brilliant goal. But you remember that because you know your football and you like your football. And that's what I admire out of people. Evening, Bella. Ciao bella Natalia, spero tutto bene. Davey, I live about 35 minutes. Oh, go away. The tree that was felled, the sycamore gap was, yeah. And you only lived there. Oh, go away. I've been up the wall. I'm up the wall now, but I've been up the wall. I've been. That's funny, though. I've been to see the wall, obviously, you know, with my students as well. I'll tell you what, if you're ever down south, go to a place called Fishbourne in Sussex. And it has a Roman villa. The unearthed, well, this farmer says he was digging up with a JCB back in 1958. And he's seen all this down. He's seen a mosaic floor. And he got these archaeologists in. What they found was unbelievable. It's Fishbourne in Sussex. If you're ever down that way, just go there. Fantastic. Frank, that's great news. You're heading to Italy for it. Thank you, T. Thank you. I've got to get, honestly, it's just nuts. Here. Frank, what's your favourite happy poem? I don't think I've got a favourite happy poem. Rudyard Kipling's If. It's fantastic. And I recommend everyone to read it. If. Or Rudyard Kipling. And he also, I've got no happy poems. You know, the poems that I studied, the only happy poem I've got is what I've written myself. I might read it one night for you, Tony. Little happy poem. Yes, it is happy. But it's a love poem. And I was feeling sorry for myself. It's not about me, like, but, you know. It's, it's a happy poem. Which, you know, I've written too many poems that I've written one for me granddaughter because Halloween was coming up, and the teacher said, this was a couple of years ago, and said about things, you know, and writing about Halloween, what it means to them, and so I gave her a poem. I said, yeah. Wrote it out, said, yeah. Say that to your teacher. And she did. And the teacher was delighted. And she said, where did you get that? Who wrote that? And she said, my granddad. She thought it was a published poem, you see. I said to mates once, you know, just out, and I said, talking, you know, and I said that I write poetry. You should have seen the looks we got. You are. Yeah, I like poetry. Nuts, isn't it? And Bella. See, talking in Italian, you say, we've got great people here. Everything. And little Lauren to Bella. Not great, Bella. I think I can say in this chat, it's not appropriate. Don't say that, Lauren. And even little Max is crying. The little tear. Oh, Lord, I'm so sorry, sweetheart. Oh. Oh, Lord. And Davey said, when you said Germans, Frank. I automatically thought of Stan Baldwin. He's been on my show, you know. He's been on here. Stan a couple of years ago. Funny Stan. I know Stan, though. I know him well. It's Stan. I was given a talk on the anniversary of the 70th anniversary of the Blitz when we were bombed. We were the most bombed city outside London. So anyway, he had a big podium in the middle of our main street, which is Church Street. And he has all these dignitaries fenced off sitting there. You had the likes of entertainers, you had sportsmen, you had, and then you had the old veterans. Wingate's Chindits, believe it or not, Wingate's Chindits in Burma. Brilliant, you know, they were all sitting there, all old men. And I got up and gave a talk. But he was sitting next to John Conte, you know, the ex-boxer. And anyway, John went, who's this fella? He said, be prepared to be here all afternoon and night. He says, Frank, what do you mean? He said he goes on for hours. I went for a bevy with Stan afterwards. Are you a poet? Have you ever been to Taranto, Frank? Taranto? No. I could tell you all the places I've been in Italy. Is that at the bottom there, the foot of the heel? Taranto. I don't know, poet. Are you, Carl? Yeah, all right, Frank. Enjoy your holiday from Carl and Lorraine. Thank you, Carl, and thank you, lovely Lorraine. Thank you so much. Thank you. And Phil says to Steve, we've been to Trieste. There was a Russian billionaire yacht seized, one of the largest super yachts. I know everything Russian gets seized, and it's shocking. It really is. Anything of the Americans being seized, but what they're doing, did you hear Trump? What he said about Cuba? Cuba's got 300 drones, and that's a threat to America. Think about it. Cuba, a little island. That's that Marco Rubio, the liar, and Trump, the liar. It's really annoying. Really is annoying. Sorry, Frankie, I have mock soon. I wish I could help you, Lauren. Depends on what you're doing, what subjects. Yeah, they're coming up, aren't they? So you've got to study, Lauren. I know that, sweetheart. And Bella, dear Lauren, I will pray for you. Be strong. Yes, that's lovely, That's lovely, Bella, to Lauren. It really is. You people are lovely, you know. You people are so nice. I've done that before, Phil. Believe me, I've done it before. Frankie will go all Italian and make a coffee last 2 hours. Yes. I want to see a friend of mine. A good friend over in Lido, he owns a couple of bars and that. He's a really lovely fella. When I was with, the one who I was with at the time, he was just sitting there and he's shutting up. This is about 2:00 in the morning, 2:30. And I said, you don't get any riffraff here, do you, Max? And he said, no, only you two. And we went back to the hotel. It was only around the corner. No, only you two. Daryl. Frankie, are you Daryl? Are you Daryl, mate? Cedric. When you see Chiesa, he can make you the cut. Yes, why not? Federico. Stephen Coughlin. Good evening, Frank and fellow Red chatters. Zara, Jamie Carragher pissing me off. And Carl, Bobby, yeah, chipped him. What Davey said? Chipped him. Brilliant goal. Barry says, David Lawson, Frank. No, it was Bobby Mims, as Carl says. Bobby Mims. Because I said like that. Said like that, didn't I? Something like that. I just said, oh, forget his name. Who cares anyway about them? I don't. Can I talk a little bit of history, please? I'm going to show you a map. And it's Liverpool. And it's what we've destroyed, unfortunately. Right. Just bear with me on this, people. And it's here. Can you see that? That white building there. Beautiful building. And that white building there. Another beautiful building. And that building there. Another beautiful building. But this building, right, was bigger than that building. And let me tell you what these buildings are. That particular building there is St. George's Hall here in Liverpool. That beautiful, fantastic building. Harvey Lonsdale Elms designed it. He was only a young man as well. Young man designed it. Now, this particular building here, beautiful. As I said, this was bigger than that. And St. George's Hall is massive, as we all know. You know, people who's been there. Beautiful building. And that particular building, this one, the white building there, that was the Custom House. And corruption pulled it down in 1948. Corruption. And that building was built in 1828, and it was the Custom House. The Custom House. Fantastic building. Fantastic. By John Foster Jr. John Foster Jr. built some fantastic buildings in Liverpool. And that was one of them, but that was corruption. Well, this building next to it, red brick building, that was built by John Cunningham in 1841, and that became the Sailors' Home. And I guess when they pulled that, that was 1974 when they pulled that down. And nothing was done. There was just all there until Liverpool 1 came about. And that would have been today, if they would have left it in 1974, that could have become a fantastic hotel or apartments. See, in Liverpool, there was no vision, unfortunately. They were just knocking stupid things. Oh, not stupid things, I'm sorry. They were stupidly knocking things down that should never have been demolished. The likes of the Sailors' Home here, the red brick building, and this. Sheer corruption, this though. The customers. This lovely building here is still there, and that's our town hall. That's the town hall, because this is Castle Street here. That's the town hall. Fantastic building. And that little building that I mentioned there, that should have been white, because it was St. Paul's Church. A fantastic church. I don't know who built it, unfortunately. But they pulled it down. For no reason. It was St. Paul's Eye Hospital. Anything bad with your eye, you know, you're there. Anyway, they pulled it down. St. Paul's Church. And in the place, they had an eye hospital. St. Paul's Eye Hospital. And I actually went there when something was in my eye when I was young. And they sorted it. And that's gone now. So, you know, great historical things in Liverpool. But the unfortunate thing is, once they decide to pull things down, they pull them down with a vengeance. And you can't see some of the buildings there. This building here was known as the Gorry Piazza. And they pulled that down. Massive warehouse with arches. Beautiful. Gone. And here, as you know, is the Albert Dock. This is the Albert Dock. And we nearly pulled that down in the 80s, only for Michael Heseltine. And he said, don't you know the history of this? Ah, well, you know, and he saved it. I wish he could have saved a lot more as well. But unfortunately, everything had gone by then. Everything. So what he's been saying. George Fitzgibbon. Hi, George. Good evening, Mr. Carlyle. Good evening, Mr. Gibbon. Hope you're well. Lovely Bella. Can everyone press the like button and subscribe for Franco, please? Thank you. Thank you so much, Bella. And Carl, what's your favourite Liverpool game we won, Frank? I bet you all Lorraine said to it, ask him what your favourite game was. I bet you didn't say that. Bet you all Lorraine sitting on the couch with you. Ask him what it my favourite game, I can't split two. I can't split two. And what I've seen with my own eyes, Did I mention them? Two. I have to say two. One is in 1977 when we played in Rome. And it was the first time that we won the European Cup. And the other one, I was there anyway. And I was there at Anfield for this particular game. And it was the most incredible game I've ever seen in my entire life. And I bet you think, no, it was at Anfield anyway. And people, would say, well, what about Istanbul? That was the greatest ever comeback in a European final. But the favourite at Anfield has to be the Barcelona game. Incredible. It was a night of sheer, unparalleled emotion. The biggest roar I've ever heard goes back to 77. And I was standing in the Kop. Standing there. And David Fairclough scored our third, because we all knew. I'll tell you something else as well about this, and it's true. Everybody knew in the Kop, that we needed a third, because that Bethany scored, didn't he, for them, to make it 1-1. Then we scored, then we were open for a third, and we got it through David Fairclough. And that was the biggest roar I've ever known in my life. And I've been in games where the roar's been absolutely immense. Thing is, definitely should have said, I thought the roof was coming off. It was that loud. And for 2 or 3 days too, my little ears were there. Tinnitus, thinking. Now, where's the other thing? When I was on LFC TV loads of times, I always went on with another player, ex-player. And St. John, I was always mostly on with St. John. Me and the great Saint. And I was on a few times with Jimmy Case, Jan Mulby, Barney Rubble. Barney Rubble. Anyway, I was with Jimmy, and this is through this. Jimmy thought, when the whistle went, Jimmy thought that we were going out. He said, I didn't realise. He said, until I seen them all jumping up and down. And what are we jumping up and down for? Shall we jump down? Then we went on to win the cup. Say that about Jimmy Case. Lovely fella, by the way. Little Laura, I read The Jungle Book by Rudyard Kipling in primary school. Did you? Have you ever thought about his name, Rudyard? Because Rudyard, Lauren, it's a very unusual name. And why he was called Rudyard by his parents was that he was conceived by the lake of Rudyard, called Rudyard. Little Johnny. Frank, don't what? What's that, Johnny? Read you the poem. Don't, Frank, don't. And Carl says, yeah, favourite pub in Liverpool, Frank. I don't say the whole, and don't say the hole in the wall. Ye hole in the wall. It's not actually, but I do go in there. I do go in there. And my favourite pub. That's a mad one, that. It used to be the Vernon. And why I said the Vernon, or why I say the Vernon, is that's where they always started off. But going back to the younger days, when I was with the lads, you know, young, free, full of energy, different colours hair, mainly black. It was the Legs of Man, because that's where we always started off. The Legs of Man became one of the favourite pubs. And believe it or not, I used to love this place along Dale Street. Just for, I've always been interested in architecture from a very, very, very young age. And I'm talking like 11, 12. I've always been interested in architecture. The aestheticness of beautiful architecture. And the inside, obviously. And that was the Crown on the corner of Lime Street. Samuel Thomas designed it. He also designed the big house, the Vines, and also the Philharmonic up in by the Philharmonic Hall, Hope Street. So that for its beauty. The Crown. And honestly, forgot you've promised me a personal. I'll read you it. Definitely. That's no problem, there, Donny. And the poet says, was the Everton keeper Lawson? Someone else said that, Davy Lawson. It was Bobby Mims. Little Mimsy. Was it Mimsy? I've got me confused now. Was it Lawson? Was it Lawson? Or Mims? Oh, you'll have to look it up, I'm sorry. Try and look it up, someone. That's got me confused. Ain't being confused, especially over football, like. And Davey says, Carl, I'm not a Liverpool fan, but the one that sticks out the most for me, Sanity India. Look at that. Mamma mia. David Fairclough, Super Show. I'm canny older. Old school like me, mate. Old school. I've never heard a noise like it in all my life. I've never heard a roar in all my life like that. It's frightening. Going home, Dad's trying to talk, going, yeah, man. Oh, that's nice to answer that. Good shout there, Davey. Nice one, Carl. That's lovely, that. And George says, can Cassiope in Corfu. I haven't been there. I went there. Passed through there, Cassiope. When I went to Corfu town, talking years ago. You would love it. It's the another place. I forget the name of it. When we went were passing through. We went on a little excursion, you know, in a car. This fella was, shall we hire a car? And I went, yeah, all right. This fella jumped in. Mad. Absolutely mad. A mad road. But we went to there, I'm sure we went there, Cassiope. And there was another mad place. And he said, oh, this is a nice little place. There were crazy people. And I'm talking young people. And we got there in the afternoon. It was about 2 or 3 in the afternoon. And all these young people, they were all young holiday makers, you know, British. Drunk in the afternoon. Shocking it was. I said, I wouldn't go here. Oh, what's the name? I forget the name of it. George. Sorry for the mixed up messages. My eyes on. Don't be worrying, Dolly. Don't be sorry ever to me. Ever. And the poets. The Chindids were special forces, spent months behind enemy lines, genuine heroes, those blokes. Yeah, I was talking to them afterwards. Well, before, really. Because after they finished, you know, there was a couple of other people talking. And then I was with Stan Boardman. We went for a bevy. Should have seen these girls. Oh, we think you're that funny, you know, Stan. Oh, Stan. I was just looking at them, and I was looking at them going, oh, Stan. And that was in the big house, by the way. The big house. Stan's a cracking fella. And the polo. Frank, I'm sorry I'm late. I know. It's been great. Should have heard it before. You know, when it started at 7 o'clock, got a phone call. And the people were listening to it. And it was unbelievable. You'd have to play it back. You know, when you come back on, you know, like from the start of it. And it was really good. That's why I'm talking about Stan Boardman now. Because Stan rang me up. And he said, is there any chance of coming on, Frank? I said, I can't send you the link because I'm not here. Jason's not here. And that's what we were talking about. Wonderful Stan Boardman. Great fella. And Bella says, I used to love listening to your poetry, Franco. Oh, go away. Did you? Can't say it now with that suit. Gone. Jason, is the any if you're there, can you give me a break? I'll have to make a cup of tea. I want a cup of tea. The Port of Liverpool building was the first to be erected of the Three Graces in 1907, and the eminent architect was Sir Arnold Thornley. Looking at this stunning building, you could be forgiven if you thought that you were in Rome or Florence, Italy. Yet, we are here on Liverpool's famous waterfront and the New World Heritage Site.
Here in the reception area, we have the Italian terrazzo with its wonderful mosaic compass. The Port of Liverpool building is mainly used for offices, and you can imagine the thousands of feet crossing over. Yet, very few know of the terrazzo and the compass's history. Italian migrants came over to Liverpool and plied their trade to make enough money for passage to America. That is how the building and others are graced with such fine Italian work as the terrazzo. Do we know the names of any of these talented men who laid the fabulous floor? You won't find them on a roll of honour, but you will find them tucked away in the terrazzo floor itself. Directly above the compass, you will find the central magnificent dome. Behind this unassuming door is a perfect example of Liverpool's architecture, unseen. It's a bit of a climb, as you can imagine, but when we get to the top, it's well worth it, because through this door is another gem which you will see on Liverpool's architecture unseen. So I'm now in the inner dome, and I'm sorry to keep it in the dark, because a matter of 60 years ago, we had a little Wales war, and it's been blacked out ever since. If you're scared of heights, look away now. Luckily enough, through restoration, the dome will be back to its former glory, and that means lighter shades like pastels, cream, where from ground level and even right up here in the heart of the dome, you'll be able to see the wonderful friezes and covings. During the Second World War, and in particular the May Blitz of 1941, the vibrations of the bombs damaged the structure of the central dome. The iron girders that you can see were cemented and bricked in after the war to stabilise the dome itself in case it toppled over. Earlier we had seen the mark left by the terrazzo floor layers, and just like in modern times, our builders also left their mark. This is the pinnacle of the Port of Liverpool building, a part of Liverpool's architecture unseen. This is the cantilever staircase with its stained glass windows of every country throughout the old British Empire. everything in the building has a nautical theme, right down to the lamp standards, as you can see, the dolphins. So the next time you walk through the port of Liverpool, you'll be able to see some of the wonders for yourself of this magnificent building.
Frank. It's very good work, properly. Some building that though. Some building that. Really good. I didn't know, I don't know what Jason puts up, but that's nice. And Stephen says, been waiting for breaking news on Slot getting sacked. It's coming shortly, I think. Once the season over, the Dutch ball fraud will be gone. Yes. And Bella, Franco, before the night's end, could you read one of your poems? Oh, please. It will cheer us all up. Okay, yeah, I will. Promise. I promise, Bella. We should never have gotten rid of the old railway system that run years ago. It should have been saved so sadly. Stephen, again, it was, you're talking the overhead railway, surely. Again, it was corruption. Because after the war, there was people involved, councillors, in the demolition business. And they decided, we pull it down because it's going to cost $2 million to put new plates in the overhead. And little do they know, or, I don't know whether they did know, because it reminds me of Arnie Slot, to be honest. What does he know about the history of Liverpool? Because he's never fucking been here. He's only been up the accent. But anyway, that's by the by. Whether our councillors knew that the overhead railway was the first of its kind in the world, built by Sir Douglas Fox, and it was the very first electrified railway system in the entire world. And people even say today, oh, that would have been a lovely tourist. It was a tourist attraction then. You see posters, travel on the overhead railway and see Liverpool and the docks. Shocking. You're right, Frank. About what? Oh, what polo? Oh, Liverpool Council nearly knocked down Albert Docks again. Corruptly. Yes. Yeah. Brilliant. I'm glad you said that, Polo. Remember the silo that's not there? Yes, Stephen. Davey. Frank, I'm planning to go to Liverpool in late July. Come and see me. Come and see me, Davey. I'll send you all my... in the description box, you'll see the email for here. Right, you'll see the email. And send an email to her. And Jason, the producer, he'll send it on to me. And I'll get in touch with you then. Give you me details, everything. Come and see me. And I don't live far, I live on the periphery of the town centre, so you'll be okay. For Coopers. Honestly. I went in with a fella, and Frank Maudsley, his name is. we were out one day, and we went in there, Cooper's, and there was a karaoke going on. And me and Frank were in. Now, Frank was in the flock of seagulls, and no one knew him, no one recognised him, because they're all Albans, giving it the bifters. And Frank went over to the fella, who's marking them down, and. So anyway, he said, "Yeah, can I get up?" He said, "Yeah, what song do you want?" He said, "Yeah, I love that one." Okay. And Frank gets up, and he was brilliant, honestly. Great voice. And all the other ones were going, "Give us another one." That was great, that. And this old fella, I don't know who it was, it might have been some old fella named George or something. He went like, "Hey, what about me? I'm next." I said, "See what you caused, Frank? Frank Maudsley." Genuine, that. I could write a fucking book about it. And honestly, Frank, when I was I was a cleaner in the Cotton Exchange. I've been in the lower basement and other places we shouldn't have been. No, you're right. It's fantastic when you go down to, in these basements and hidden places, to be honest. I had a group of people, and this fella, he just appeared from nowhere. I can't even tell you where it was, but it was right in the middle of town, right in the city centre. I was walking along this very narrow street, and there was a fella, he said, and as I walked past him, the group, he shouted me. He said, "Can you come here a minute?" So I said to the group, I "I won't be a minute." I went to answer him, said, "Yeah." He said, "Listen, what are you doing tomorrow, Sunday?" This was the Friday. I said, "Why?" He said, "How would you like to come in here?" He said, "I want to show you something." True this. So I said, "Can I bring a couple of people?" I said, "Only a couple." He said, "Yeah, of course." So anyway, went down and seen him on the Sunday. I think it was 10 o'clock. And he brought us through, then down. It was incredible. And what's there? It should be a museum. And they had things going back to the 1600s. Left. Wish I could tell you, but I can't. I'll tell Davey when he comes and sees me. Might even write a poem about it. And Davey comes down. Stephen says, "You can't beat and talk about yesterdays from the old days, from years ago." Yes, that's a good point, though. And you can't. You really can't. I love the Roman Empire because I lectured about it. I'll tell you the topics I loved lecturing about. The Roman Empire, obviously, and especially Roman Britain as well. Roman Britain. And then the English Civil War. I used to give a lecture sometimes about the monastic chronicles during the Dark Ages. And without the monastic chronicles, we would have known nothing. Believe you me. Because the monks just went away and hid from all those dirty Viking fellas. But anyway, that's by the by. And I love talking about the English Civil War, the French Revolution, 1789, and of course Napoleon. What a man he was. He's one of my 5 great military leaders, by the way. One of the top 5 military leaders in any military conflict. And you know what? There's not one American. not one, in that top 5. And then I love talking about, well, lecturing, all lectures they are, the First World War. The First World War. And, you know, what went on. What went on. Shocking. Our war started. Excuse me, I'm going to have a slurp of my tea. Oh, lovely. And Carl says they missed a trick with the building. Hey, Frank, just have we any Tartarian buildings in Liverpool? And some buildings go right under the ground. Half windows in the road have been a mud flood. Do you know, I wish I could tell you what I just said there before, Cal, and where I was, but I can't, unfortunately. Because what I see was incredible. But you're talking about the mud and things. There used to be the mudmen of Garston, and some of them lads died. And what they did, they was pulling out things to the ships in the Mersey. And some of them drowned, you know, in the mud. Died. The mudmen of Garston. Incredible workers they were. Very dangerous. But you're right there about underground half windows in the road. That there being a mud flood. There's always been mud floods. That never get mentioned. And what you're talking about as well is really before the docks. You know, before the continuation of docks from the year 1715 one, the first one in the world. Thomas Steers dock. His name wasn't Thomas Steers, you know. We anglicised his name. He was a Dutchman by the name of Thomas Steers. And we anglicised his name to Thomas Steers. And Barry says, Frank, when was Nick's church built? Me and my missus went in a few weeks ago and we loved it. Barry, the original, I wish that you should have told me, because I would have told you to look out for something. 2 things, well, a few things, not 2. But one of them, it was built around, it's hard to put it, okay. When the castle was built in approximately 1234, the Liverpool Castle, the sheriff, you know, people wanted to go because they built a church inside the castle called St. Mary del Keys. Right, St. Mary del Keys, you know, the key of the door. And this was the church, St. Mary del Keys. And ordinary people who actually built the church, were saying, can we go to the service? And he was saying, no. The sheriff was saying, no, sod off. Go and build a church somewhere else so you can have your services there. And don't build it on the castle grounds. That's what he said. So people just went, and where St. Nick's is today, that's where it was built. So you're going to now, I'd say they never built a church as they built it then, because they wanted to go to services. So it was like a little perimeter that they built and a little altar, believe it or not. A little altar. So they built it from there onwards. So you're talking around 1250. And the church, the original church of St. Nick's, you could say around 1320. 1320. See, there was lots of things about Liverpool which was unique. Say 1301, for example. All the, and one of the Carl, I think, mentioned about mud. And Liverpool was very muddy. It was very muddy. And the sheriff says, is there any way? Because they had to go through that mud if they were going out of the castle, into the castle. It was full of mud. So what they did, the stone and what was left over from building the castle that it says, opens in 1234, they laid along the streets, the seven original streets, these stone that was left over. So it was paved so that people wouldn't get their feet wet in the mud. And John Lellens in 1537, he wrote the very first thing about Liverpool. John Lellens, actually, he was the antiquary and librarian to Henry VIII. And the first thing that was ever written was Liverpool alias Liverpool. No, Liverpool alias Liverpool, which was the Latin word, a paved town. And it was the only paved town in the whole of the country. But I go back to the likes of 1290 to 1301 when those, they started paving it with stone. Not with, what today, flags or anything. No such thing as them, but with stone. So we were the first paved town. How about that? Another slurp of the tea. See that? What I would have told you to watch out for, Barry, is this. There's when you go in, there's a font. A font. And that font originates from the castle's church, St. Mary del Keys. And that goes back to 1234. And St. Nick's, why it's called St. Nick's, the full title of St. Nick's is St. Nicholas and St. Mary's, because at the time it was called St. Mary del Keys, but it was the keys of the river, because it was right on the river. St. Mary del Keys, same as St. Mary del Keys, but the lock in the castle. I would have told you to look out for that. Most probably you've seen it and knew nothing about it. And also when you go in directly on your left, when you go inside the church, you have another altar, don't you? And above that altar, you see a cross. And they're the embers of the church when it was hit by a bomb, unfortunately. And they rebuilt it in 1954. And that was it. Shame, really, that it was bombed. Incidentally, in 1812, the steeple, the original steeple of the original church, the bell ringer, was ringing the bell, for congregation. And little charity school kids went, girls they were. And they used to go to the services. And anyway, the bell came tumbling down along with the tower. And it killed those children. And their bell ringer, obviously, they were killed. And they rebuilt the tower that you see today. In 1815. It was opened, it was done. The same year of the Duke of Wellington's victory over Napoleon at Waterloo. Just a trivia thing, what to tell you. The poet. Imagine having the custom house near the Three Graces. How incredible a waterfront. I've always said that. Honestly, I have. There it is. How's that? That's the pump house still there today. And there's the custom house pulled down. That was pulled down, I'm sorry. Imagine that there. Imagine it. Right facing the Albert Dock. And they didn't have to pull it down. Because the Americans said, we'll have that. If you take it brick by brick. And he said, yeah, okay. Corruption. But the Americans abandoned it. We pulled it down. Beautiful. It was white. It was a white building, by the way. Well, not white, but it was the same colour as St. George's Hall as you see today. And where it was situated in Shivas Park. And little Donna says, I've got an insider for anytime access crypt in St. Anthony's. I've been there loads of times there, Donna. St. Anthony's, brilliant. And the actual crypt, that went right down, like down Scotland, not right down Scotland Road, both ends, right down towards Sylvester Street, and right down to Great Ormond Street. It was very big, the actual crypt. They had to block it off and make it smaller, obviously. I beat Jamie Carragher 7-0 on Sky Super 6. Did you? Sky Super 6. It's a shame that they have taken so many beautiful buildings and destroyed them, says Bella. Yes, Bella. Some of the buildings that they've actually got rid of. I'd love to show you a few buildings now that, I'm worried about, I'm concerned about, that may come down. About 4 or 5 of them. Because if they're not being utilised, they just go in and pull them down, not knowing the significance of them. If you know what I mean. Stephen Cochran. Remember the Crystal Palace game, beating them 9-0? Yes, at Anfield. And John Aldridge playing his last game in front of the Kop by throwing his shirt and boots before he signed for Real Sociedad. Yes. Yep. He's only with us 2 seasons, you know, Aldridge. So I know this is an historical and I promise to shut up, but which player that you met did you not like when you, I can't say it on here. I cannot say it. And he fucking disgusted me, actually. I wish I could, Cedric. Honestly, I wish I could. But I won't say it on here. And I thought, you prat. Doing that. The likes of Jan Molby's a lovely fella. Barney Rubble is a lovely fella. I tell you who else is. Davy Fairclough and Phil Neal. Met them all. Davy Fairclough is really, really good. Very articulate as well. And Steve Mulholland. The Crown, the Phil, and the Vines were owned by Walkers. Yes. Same architect. And Little John, I always look up when I'm in town. And keep looking. And Carlton says, why is everyone commenting in caps? Carlton, because I have my distant glasses on because my reading glasses kill me. And when it's in small print, I can hardly read it. That's why. And the people, you know, it's kind of them to do it. Honestly, really is kind of them. Frank likes caps. Good to know. Thank you. And as Stephen says, writing caps for Frank, please. Isn't that lovely? Thank you. And Bella says, Carlton is for Franco's eyes are not good. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Bella. And Jason says, Polo, check out Historic Liverpool Co UK. You might find something there. There you go, Polo. What Jason says, do it. Check it out. And the LFC Mart. Even if Frank and all got in just to hear you with old Stan Bowman, he would be mortified to know I shared a house with some jet. They were lovely and gave me a tour around Hamburg. So that's lovely. I did a documentary for German television. So fucking funny, honestly. It was called Beat City, and you know, the Beatles and that, but they wanted to know the history also. And they had a girl interpreter, only a young girl, you know, Liverpool girl. And I said to her, I said, look, I said, whatever you do, I said, I'm not going to mention the war. So don't let the war be mentioned. Okay. So she said, yeah. I said, we'll just concentrate on architecture and whatever, and, you know, obviously the Beatles. So she said, okay. But we were all around the town, you see, before we went down to Matthew Street and the Cavern. So we were went inside and filmed inside the town hall, and then we came out the town hall, and we were just walking up there, into exchange flags because I wanted to talk about that. And deadly mistake. And this girl, she was with the crew, and I was like there, and I went, I hope she doesn't stop, and she stopped, and she turned to me, and she said, "Can you tell us something about those holes and through the brickwork there, right next to the town hall?" And those, what I was talking about, I've actually done them on a DVD. It was from the German Luftwaffe when they were emptying their, guns to make the plane lighter to get back to their base, wherever that was. And anyway, they were all, I went, and the German producer or whoever he was, he said, "Can you explain?" I said, "Yeah, I'll explain." And that's where the war came out. I said it was the Luftwaffe emptying the guns during the May Blitz. So terrible. And I said to the girl, "I told you not to." She said, I said, "No. I didn't know about them big holes being in the wall caused by the war." I said, "Okay." Like a Peter Sellers script. And Bella says, my favourite was Liverpool 4, Newcastle, 1996, 4-3. Stan Collymore. And LFC says, I hereby names Frank's Interludes the best on YouTube, 100%. Loved it. Thank you. Thank you, LFC, mate. Frank, I was in the Port of Liverpool building catering department on my YTS. Go away. My desk was facing the Strand, top floor. Go away. Isn't that lovely? Isn't it? Oh, that's lovely, though. And LFC, good call on the poem request. I will read it. I will. One of my own. And Davy says, fun fact, stairwells in certain castles always go up left-sided as the most people are right-handed and soldiers could attack charging down. So you're spot on there. You're right. You've only got to ask Basil Rathbone. Do you know Basil Rathbone, the original Sherlock Holmes? He was a war hero. Did you know that? In the First World War. And he was in the Liverpool Scottish. And he should have been awarded a Victoria Cross. I don't think Davey realises what I am, Shall I show him what I am? And I don't think a lot of other people do either, who are on the... Shall I show him what I am? Take that off. Yeah. Where am I? There. Victoria Cross, though. Here you go. See ya. Not many people know that. Just put it away. There is in me little thing. But you're right there. But anyway, getting back to Basil Rathbone, he was one of the greatest swordsmen in real life. And in one of his, I forget what a film it was, he was fencing someone. And they reckon it was done in all one take. Because the other fella who was fencing, he was a master's there, swordsman too. And it was done in one take. In a castle. You know, going upstairs and downstairs, but you're so right. That's a good shout, that, Davy. And you're so right. Have I got it here? Yeah, let's see if I have. Let's see. Yeah, look at this. How about that? I hope you can see that. Now, that's our old cat. Oh, sorry about the focus there. But, can you see? Where am I? Can you see the stairwell there? That's on the left-hand side. That's great, that, Davey. It's great, mate, honestly. To say. I used that's Liverpool Castle, by the way. I used to bring my students up there. And I said one day, I said, look, I said, whatever you do, when I was bringing them up, I said, wear old clothes, you know, because you're going to see a castle. So he said, all right, there you are, there, look, there you are. Most of them, you know, there's loads of them still inside. So anyway, they were clothing appropriate, except two girls. High heels, nice little dresses on. There you go. That's the photograph I just shot. Look at that. Thanks, Jay. Thank you, mate. Brilliant. Oh, yeah, he's got more on. There you go. There you go, Davey. It is a fun fact, and it's you was spot on as well. These are all Jason's. He took his little grandson up there to the Liverpool Castle. As I said, I used to take my students. It's a fireplace, that. That's brilliant. Look at that. We built a replica, you see, Lord Leverhulme, of the castle. Big tower, that. Isn't that brilliant? Hey? Aren't they brilliant? Taj, mate, thank you so much. Really appreciate that. I think Davey will be made up with it. Showing that. Well done. Well done, Davey, as well, pointing that out. And Polo said, Frank is Stan's parents, so no. I'll tell you what, though. He has a 2-year-old brother. Or was he 2? No, I think he was 2. Stan, and he had a baby. And it was killed in an air raid. His little brother. And Johnny says, I typed menus for the directors and went down the private stairwell to give it to the secretary. Oh, what opulence, yes. Take the menus, eh? And Steve, here's some great stories of the old overhead railway system, especially from people I talk to. Yes. Yes. And Mr. B. Good evening, Frank and fellow tubers. Good evening, Mr. B. Good to see you. And, that's nice, Davey. Do that, just send an email, give you me details, and come and see me. You're not far, come and see me. You're not far from Cooper's. But come here before you go to Cooper's, though. Blimey. You'll be bringing the karaoke fair people up with you. Oh, lovely little Lord. I should be well gone now. Good night, Frankie and chat. I'm going to sleep now. Ah, isn't she lovely, little Laura? Thank you for the kind words, Frankie and Bella. Oh, Lord and sweetheart. Oh, yeah. Stephen's saying good night to her. Davey, our Newcastle friends, are saying good night to her. The Lindisfarne Gospels through work, yes, absolutely. And the Paul, Frank, you should get on. The Metatron YouTuber, he's an Italian Sicilian. He's brilliant about the road. Oh, go away. I used to watch, what was his name? Franco da Mosta, was it? The tip to toe history. He used to just go down tip to toe. Fantastic. Was it Franco da Mosta? Great he was. And he was Sicilian. Do you know what? I've never been to Sicily, and I've always wanted to go. And I even had a job there in Messina. But because of certain circumstances, I never went. I had a job in Rome at the Lord Byron University in Rome. I had a job there. Again, circumstances. I never went. Not my circumstances. Thanks, Polo. And Little Don. Frank, I really want to know the full history of Everton. Well, the Everton district has got more history in it than anywhere else in Liverpool. Don't it? Because it goes from Everton right down to the Mersey. And I was born in the Everton area, the district of Everton. Oh, but yet I'm a big red. Oh, lovely Bella. Good night, Lauren. I love you people, Frank, that Legs of Man pub. Did you see the famous actors? Yeah. I tell you, I've never seen them. I tell you who loved it in there. Shall I tell you? Frank Sinatra. And we had a chippy, I reckon, a lot of people reckon it was the best ever. And it was Gianelli's, where I lived. And Sinatra, he sent, it's genuine, this is a true story. He actually sent over a stagehand. He said, listen, go. He said, I'm a bit peckish, because he was rehearsing. Why did I do that? He was rehearsing, you see. He was appearing at the Empire. So anyway, the fellow went over the stagehand and came back with fish and chips. Right? And Sinatra at him, he gave him a $5. And you're talking, what was it, 54 or 55, something like that, 54, 55. And he gave the lad a $5 to go and get it. Now, them fish and chips would cost about, say, 10p today. 10p. So anyway, he went by and he said, Sinatra said, keep the change. You're okay, keep the change. That was like 4 weeks' wages to the fella. Jen said, are you sure? He said, yes, keep it. Sinatra said. Now, Sinatra was appearing in New York. It was a Vegas, and I might get mixed up here. But anyway, he was appearing. And who went to see him was Frankie Lane, another Italian, by the way, Frankie Lane. I forget his Italian name. So he goes and sees him. And he says, come and join her at the after party. So anyway, they're having a bevy. There's Johnny Gianelli's, look. Best chippy in the world, look. By where I lived. Right there. No, it wasn't. I thought that was another picture. It's the castle. I didn't live in the castle. Anyway, he said, oh no, that's right. They were in New York, and he said, we're going down to Vegas next week. He said, do you fancy going down? Coming down to see us, even give a spot on the show. And he said, I'm doing Europe. And he gave him, like places he's going. And Liverpool was mentioned. And Sinatra said here, he said, you pay, where are you paying? He said, the Empire. He said, listen, he said, ask one of the lads if you're feeling peckish about Gianelli's restaurant. Now, look, there's the chippy restaurant. Right? Genuine, this. Honest. So he says, why? He said, the food, man. He said, anyway, when he got here, and he said to her, this is genuine. I know you think it's a mad script, but it's true. So anyway, he gets to Liverpool, and he asked one of the stagehands, because the stagehands only came from where I lived, Cherry Gardens. That's where that was. Gianelli's. So anyway, he goes like that. He says, is there a place called Gianelli's? Went, yeah, Johnny's. He said, what's the food like? Oh, the best chippy in it. You've got to understand. But we're saying to him, the chip, he wouldn't know what a chippy is. But he thought it was a restaurant, like Sinatra never went along. He just called it a restaurant, not a chippy. So anyway, he said, do you want me to go for you? He said, no, I'll go along. Can you lead me there? Tell me where it is. He says, yeah, it's only over the road. Come on. So anyway, he went. You could imagine Frankie Lane, superstar, well-groomed hair, tanned, a very light blue shirt he had on, with a grey suit, silver grey suit. So you can imagine that. And he goes along, and he's standing there, and it's lunchtime, because loads of kids used to go to get the dinner, you know, the chips, whatever, you know, fish cake or whatever, or just chips. And, you know, so before they went back to school. So anyway, there was a big queue, so he goes along, and he's in the queue with these kids. And he says, excuse me, you know, this is Frankie Lee, to Johnny Gianelli. No, Johnny, he was straightforward. He was dead straight. And he said, hey, hang on a minute. He said, just stay in the queue. I'm serving these kids. He said, they've got to get back to school. He said, okay. And he asked for fish and chips. He said, I want to know what he is. And after that, he said, how do I know what he had? He said, you're going back, aren't you? That's the way he spoke. And that's genuine, that. What a great story. Unbelievable. Love it, as they say. The vlogs, Lee, MX6, this fella. Watch out for him. Hello, Frank. Hope you're well. He carries on by saying, listening in the background. Also, Pep just announced he is leaving City on Sunday, official. Sorry, I know it's history. Go, where's he leaving, yeah? Well, we all knew he'd leave, didn't we? And Dennis Paparak. Hello, everyone. And if you want to go and see the Paparak at the end of the month, there he is, playing at the Cavern Pub and the Cavern Club as well. Go along and see his band, The Incurables. Brilliant. Great band, by the way. Hi, Dennis, says Phil. Gotta go and see him, Phil, honestly. He's cool. So the pump house and the Albert Dock, as it is today. Yes, Donna. Yes, sweetheart. And Carl, good night, Frank. Thanks for tonight from Carl on the couch. Lorraine, love you, Frank. Thank you, Carl. And Lorraine, mille grazie. Buonanotte. (1966) onwards till I left. Says Phil. And Stephen, the Albert Dock and the Pierhead was in such a state in the late 80s. It wasn't like it is today, going back all them years ago. It was sad time. Yes, Stephen, it was. And it was only for the only decent, I'd say, Tory was the other fella who was demoted to being, by Thatcher, the Minister of Merseyside. And he came and he fixed Liverpool. I went to that game in the Annie Road end. 9-0, says Peter. Incredible. Peter. 9-0. Why did they pull down the custom house, Frank? Was it left to rot, or did the council not just fund it? The council was asked by the Americans. It could have easily been saved, put it that way. And there was preservationists there as well, trying to save it. And the Americans came in and said, we love this building, can we have it? We'll buy it off you. So they said, yeah, all right. If you take it brick by brick, yeah, all right. Corruption. And the Americans waited that long, they said, I'll leave it. It was half gone then. Couldn't do anything about it, so they had to demolish. If you ever want to see any of the stone that came from there, go up to Anfield Cemetery and have a look around there. You'll see them, and they're marked for the Americans. I should have. I wish I would. When I was there, I wish I should have took pictures. Phones then had no cameras on. I met Kenny Dalglish when he was a player. Wasn't impressed, says Phil. Well, I met Kenny a few times and gave him the story about one of our first recipients of the Victoria Cross. But anyway, that's another thing. But as a player, unbelievable. But I lost respect when he took that gong. I refused the gong, me. I refused the gong. Because we've been, to cover up the lies, everything about Hillsborough. Shocking. How can you accept anything of them for what they were saying about us? And it still goes on today. That's by the way. I was in St. Sylvester. I just lived by there. My late husband, Tony Foran, went to St. Anthony's. Is that your husband? Ah. Phil says to stay. I thought they was Newton and Ridley. Golly, I'm going to say a poem for our girls now. I'm going to finish. I'll have to go and get my phone because they're on my phone. That's where I dedicate everything to. So bear with me, please. Put my glasses on. Reading glasses, that is. I don't know what one I'll read, but bear with me. These are the poems I wrote. Wrong thing. No, I won't read that. I've read that one before. This is just a sonnet. I'll just read it because I think you'll all be fed up by now. So anyway, it's called. Where can I put it? So I can't hold me bloody thing. Bear with me, I know. Right. Right, it's called Distant Hearts. Distant Hearts. Torn apart by distance, as the pining heart aches, longing for a gentle touch, a touch that will cure so much. Yearning to be together, a mind imprisoned by time, invisible to the eye, but visible to the thought. Oh, I long to be with you, to walk, to talk, to see, to love, stargazing on evening strolls, hand in hand, gently holding, fingers entwined, locked together, professing our love forever and ever. Should have been read slowly, like, but that's my poem. There it is. What I wrote. I know, but that's it anyway. Rain against the window panes, leaves falling all around, mellow odours in the air. Autumn has finally arrived. I'm not reading all this because it's a long one. It's called Autumn Rain. And that other one is called Torn Apart by Distance. Distant Hearts, it is. So anyway, that's me for tonight, people. I really, I just want to thank you for joining me. And Phil say, Frank, have you been there? The Leaning Tower. In the sun, the tower is a great sight, but there's nothing else there. You know, the river's there and that, and which is nice. And the polo. Man City, Pepper's quit. Might get him to join us. My dad used to complain about clocks that never got repaired on old buildings. Yes, Stephen. Yes. And Barry says to Donna, Frank's figures will hit the floor if he dedicates a programme to the Blue Noses. Afraid so. And Cedric says, I love listening to the history you share and the way you... What I'm going to do, Cedric, if you're still with us, I'm going to do something on a few topics. And no football. Do you know when this season's over, that's it. I'm going to start talking about Napoleon. I'll do one on him. I'll do one, especially the French Revolution, because people think that the French Revolution started with Napoleon. It's genuine, that. But anyway, it was Robespierre and Dayton. They were the ones. And I'll be doing something on him. And Napoleon, obviously, all combined together. I'll be doing something on the English Civil War. I'll do something on the First World War II. And I'll also give profiles, about my 5 military top people in the world. I'll tell you who they are now, but not in any specific order. I'll give you Napoleon. I'll give you Montgomery. I'll give you Nelson. You know, these are great military leaders, by the way. And also Julius Caesar. I was always tossing up between Julius Caesar and Marcus Aurelius. So I might give you the both. And Marshal Zhukov, Russia. Georgy Zhukov. They're great leaders. What they done for the people. How the people responded to them. So that's what I'll be doing, Cedric. It's this bloody football season, so it's true that. Don't mention the ball. You did. The Germans bombed our chippy. Dermot. Hiya, Dermot. Great listen, Frank. Been going to Liverpool for years, to the games at Anfield. Great to hear about the history. Dermot from Fermanagh, Ireland. Dermot, if you're still with us, look for me look for a fella by the name of Padraig Cronin, because I used to lecture about Ireland, you know, from 1566 onwards. And Padraig, he got hold of me. I'd just come out of hospital as well. Anyway, he interviewed me about the Irish. And Padraig's a big red as well, believe it or not. And he talked a little bit about football first, then went on and spoke about the history of Ireland and what it meant to Liverpool, what the Irish meant to Liverpool as well. And it's the way it was. It was the way it was after the 1845 famine. So-called famine. Because as George Bernard Shaw said, how could there be a famine when the country was full of food? And he was right. But there wasn't one famine. In total, there were 6 famines. 6 famines from 1566 onwards with the English. By the English. So Padre, I could even do an Irish one. I'll do that. I'll do the Irish one as well, besides Napoleon and Stephen. Love Stevie Nicol. He was a great player and loved watching him on the. He called the other fella for everything, Mo. So I won't watch him now. Razzle Ratbone, says Don. Peter. Nico is a legend. Yeah, Nico, yeah. And Davey says, about to you. Oh, thank you. Thank you. There's only one Frank Carlyle VC. There you go, Donny. Who remembers Shovelfoot? Shovelfoot. Stevie Stone. He had 2 times at the club. And when he was a player, yes, Stevie Stone was there twice with us, wasn't he? That's what you should say, never take back. I worked in Chester Castle, just a corner tower left, but it had a sally port, a stairwell underneath the mound it's built on. I used to take Peter, honestly, I used to take, me students, he was studying Rome and Britain. And I used to take them into, especially mother care then. And we used to go into this girl used to go, oh, not you again. Because I used to have my students, we used to go down and crawl around the cellar where you see the underground heating system by the Romans. Great it was. Where's the castle now, Frank? Rivington Pike. Rivington Pike near Bolton. That's what it's called, Rivington Pike. Horwich. David Burrows, he was a great defender. Remember him scoring in the Merseyside derby. David Burrows. He's all right, the blonde lad. Curly hair. Liverpool Castle has expensive-looking stonework. Coarse stonework. Yes, Peter, you're right. Exact replica, you know. Lord Leverhulme. He wanted to build it here, but couldn't. Remember the Cop cheers when Gary Ablett was sold to Everton for £1 million? Yeah. Yeah. It says, isn't he? No. Gary Ablett. Guy's a young lad. Davy, I was in Chillingham Castle, Northumberland recently. Edward I, Longshanks, yes. Stayed there on the way to fight the Scots. The most atmospheric place I've been to. Oh, go away. Brilliant, that, Davy. Have a chat when you come and see me, mate. Be interesting. Polo. Francesco de Mosto, that's him. That's an Italian historian, family friends of the Medici. Yeah. I'd love to have that thing, you know. I really would. You don't see it, do you? You know, these things come on YouTube. I've been waiting. The poet. Were you born? Yes. Yeah, Mill Road, mate. Mill Road. And Mill Road never looked back until they demolished it. I was born there, was you? So we come from the same thing. Oh, that's great, that. Poet, lads. And Peter says, Davy, Edward I was responsible for the castles in North Wales, I think. Do you know who built the first castles, by the way? Tell you who they were, the Romans. To keep those dirty, pesky Vikings out. They built the castles. The first ones, anyway. North Shore, I think, they built them. Anyway, Frank, you're right. Sinatra appears in the 55 era. Empire wasn't full. Imagine that. Yeah, Paul. But that's true about Frankie Lane. Genuine, that. Well-known story, that. Waiting fucking line, he said. But he never swore, like. And Peter says to the poet, I was born in Oxford maternity. Was you? Oxford Street. Sinatra Empire 53, says the Polo. My Uncle Tony went to that. My Uncle Tony went to that. Remember him saying, when I seen Sinatra, you know, oh, fuck off. Seen Sinatra there, you know. It's always a big deal. Well, it was really, wasn't it, Frank? Frank Sinatra. And Davey says, Peter, I think he did. And all of these buildings. I love buildings. Loved them. Favourite building in all the world is the Pantheon in Rome, designed by Emperor Hadrian. 2,000 years old and still utilised today. Think about that. And Peter says, I used to sail to New York from Liverpool on the White Star Line, I think. Oh, your dad used to sail. Oh, brilliant. Thanks. Look at that, Jason. Sent me that. Francesco da Mosta on YouTube. I'll be watching that. Oh, cheers, Jay. Cheers, mate. Top to Toe, episode 1 full. Oh, brilliant. Thanks, Jay. Pity you can't get us on my telly, though. Oh, jeez. Yeah, that would be the White Star. And Donna says, where was Gianelli's, Frank? Right by Jerry Gardens. Got a photograph somewhere where you see Gianelli, see a couple of kids outside, and you see Jerry Gardens just over the road where I grew up. Born and bred. Born in Mill Road. Grew up in the Gardens. And Peter says today, I was a stonemason for a few years in North Wales, castles and church. Go away. Wow, great that. Peter, Mark Simons. Frank, is it true the Playhouse is the first repertory theatre in Britain? Yes, and the oldest still going today. Bang on. Bang on. Glad someone asked that. Glad someone asked that, Mark. It's the oldest and still going today. There's not many repertories. I seen it. Do you ever remember? I forget his name. Daniel Travanti. He used to be in the Hill Street Blues. He was like the top cop. Daniel J. Travanti. Hill Street Blues fame. And I seen him in a play there. I went down and seen it. I said, oh, I've got to go and see this. Because I loved Hill Street Blues. And I'll tell you who else I've seen in a thing called Fences. It was like a racist sort of, story. Well, against racism. Called Fences. Your Fat Cotto. If you don't know who your Fat Cotto is, you've seen him loads of times. He was in the two of the most probably you've seen is Alien. There was only one black person in that, and that was your Fat Cotto, Alien. You know, the first Alien. And the other one was with Robert De Niro. And blimey, it's gone from me. There's something like comes here and it goes. I forget what it's called. But anyway, Robert De Niro. And your Fat Cotto was at Joe Pantoliano was in it. And he was a bondsman. He tells dinero to go and get this fella, Charles Grodin, brilliant in it, Charles Grodin, and to go and get him because of a bounty. And the other fella, Midnight Run, it was called, and the Fat Cotto was there. He was the FBI fella. Fantastic film. Loved it. So you fact, and I went to see him. Jason, look. Midnight Run. Tells you. And as he says, Midnight Run, I think, has the most swear words ever in a film. I think. Most probably because it was just swearing. Smoking and swearing. And Stephen says, don't think Pep Linders will welcome back at Liverpool after cheering against us when you're spot on. You're right there. And I don't think he'll become manager either of City. You're right there, Barry. Frank Varello was always tormented by his ex-wife. Yes. Yes. Great. One of the greatest series that ever. And then the likes of what followed it was the likes of Sopranos. That was the greatest TV series I've ever seen in my life. Someone said to me, didn't you ever like that, Downton Abbey? Oh, fuck. Have you seen that girl in it? She was in a film with Liam Neeson, where he's a cop, on planes. He's a cop on a plane. And then there was two hijackers on it. Forget what it was called. And she was the girl in it. And she had this horrible accent, posh accent, taken straight from that Downton Abbey. Listen to it in that Downton Abbey. Because they showed a little bit on YouTube the other day, and I watched it. You see her sitting there, really snobbish accent. Anyway. That is Uma. Hiya, Uma. Hope you're well. Centre-backs are easy. Virgil, Canate, Dumfries. Right back, Bradley, Frimpong. Left back, Kirkers, Semikas. Midfielders, Wharton, Kamada, Gravenberch, Szoboszlai, Maka, Jones. I'm glad you said Jones. Elliott and Elliott. I'd love that Henderson over Wharton, to be honest. Uma, I really would. We've got to keep our scouser in the team. Oh, David Burke died last week. Played the first Dr. Watson with Jeremy Brett. Yeah, he did. He was bought that. Yeah, he was a scouser, David. Oh, he died. Oh, I didn't know that, Peter. Thanks for letting me know, mate. And Uma says the attackers, Barcola, Isak, Diamande, Yildiz, Little Rio, Ingamoa, and Gapco. And Marino was back in Madrid. Is Madrid, will be changed and to win titles under him? What's your opinion how Marino will change Madrid? Which players will be sold? I haven't a clue. And whom will he sign? Haven't a clue, unfortunately, Uma. But Marino, to the contrary of what people are saying, he's a good manager. And someone suggested to me a couple of months ago now, you know, if Slot gets the sack, would you have him as an interim manager? I said, yeah. Marino. And he's a Liverpool football fan. I don't know whether anyone knows that. But I can't tell you anything about who Madrid will sign or who he'd sign. And who he'd get rid of. Might get rid of, I don't know. Frank, I make Klopp style Liverpool 11. If Liverpool FC wants to win next season, they will follow this team. Reach and Gannon. Can Kenny, everyone. Great show, Frank. Thanks, Davey. Speak to you soon, mate. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Davey. You're a good man. And away the lads say. Frank, I made Klopp style Liverpool 11. If Liverpool FC wants to win next season, they will probably. If you say above properly, yes. Jerry O. Davey, says Peter. And Mark said, I think Curtis is going to accept that Inter offer. They are pushing hard now. Yeah, I think he will. He'll be great for them, you know. He'll be great for Inter. I'm telling you now. Uma, you were doing all right with your strikers till you got to gap coach. It's funny. Listen, boys, I've got to finish. Do you know what? No one mentioned me poem. Not reading anymore. Anyway, Anfield Agenda's popular Liverpool YouTuber channel. He is saying he knows that Slot will be sacked in this summer. Liverpool won't keep to next season. Yes, we want him to go where, Uma? We want Mr. Slot to go because he's useless. We want him gone. We want him gone, Uma. Trent will probably sold to Manchester City from Real Madrid if Marino becomes manager. People, I'm going. I'm finishing now. I've been on since 7 o'clock, 9:45 now, more or less. And I'm going to make myself another cup of tea, yes. And then when I make my cup of tea, I'm going to sit down and have a crisp butty. Yes, a crisp butty. For Frank. You missed a lot of comments above. I'm sorry, Uma. I really am. I've got to go anyway, fella. Try tomorrow night on the football show. Okay. I've got a football show tomorrow starting at 7 o'clock. 7 p.m. British Standard Time. Reed, definitely Gannon now. See you, Davey. Peter. Later, peeps. And on that wonderful note, cheers, people. Thank you so much. Okay, take care. We will meet again. We will meet next. Yes. Thanks. Yes, Uma. You look after yourself over there in wonderful India. Good night, people. And to our wonderful Italian girls, buonanotte. Buonanotte. A domani.